So you want to buy a home in Boise, but you have a house to sell first. What are your options to make that happen, and which is best for you? Let's find out. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Summer Aston, a realtor in the beautiful Boise, Idaho area with Summer Aston Real Estate Group at Silver Creek Realty Group. And my team and I are happy to help you buy or sell a home in the Boise area. And buying and selling are two separate transactions, but they often have to happen at the same time, and it can get overwhelming and confusing. Many of you reach out to us to let us know that you visited, done your research, you're ready to make the move, but you're worried about selling your home first and buying here, especially with our market not being very conducive to contingent offers. The good news is that there are several options for you to buy and sell a home at the same time, so you can make the move to Boise or even make the move within Boise. Locals are facing the same concerns, including how to buy a home without a contingent offer. So I will be talking about the top 5 ways to do that, the pros and cons of each, the risks and benefits of each, so you can figure out what might be the best for you as you plan a move in the Boise, Idaho area. So the main problem we are trying to solve is that in order to make a down payment or even pay cash, you need the money and equity out of your current home to purchase the next home. And ideally, you would do so with the least risk to you. And the least risk to you means more risk for the seller. And in a seller's market, that's not great for getting your offer accepted. So we're going to keep those things in mind as we go over the options. Okay, number 1, the old standby, making an offer contingent on selling your current house. So several years ago, this was a tried and true method of buying and selling a home at the same time. So you found a house you liked, you made an offer contingent on selling your current house, you put your current house on the market, and then you closed on both houses at the same time or very close to each other. This is the lowest risk and lowest cost to you as there aren't additional loan fees. You get to find your new home first and you don't have to find interim housing. This is the highest risk offer to the seller as it may take you a week or 2 to get your home ready to sell, a week or 2 to get an offer, and then if that offer happens to fall through, the sellers are back at square one. They lost time on the market and usually lost some value in the home as well. In our current market in Boise, a contingent offer is incredibly hard to get accepted, if not impossible. Even if a seller doesn't currently have multiple offers, they know they will receive a strong non-contingent offer if they just wait a bit more. So there's not much incentive for them to accept a contingent offer. But there are some exceptions. In the off chance you find a home that has been on the market for over a few weeks and the sellers are motivated, possibly they might accept a contingent offer. Occasionally, builders on new construction will accept contingent offers, especially if the new home won't be completed for several months. But in that situation, expect that the builder will put parameters and timelines on when you need to have your house sold, and that may include having it sold before you can move into the new house. And then where do you go? So we'll talk about that problem in a bit here. So if you absolutely must make a contingent offer, you must do whatever you can to eliminate risks to the seller, which puts you more at risk, and you need to offer something so great that they would rather wait for your house to sell than accept a non-contingent offer. Now that's very rare. I did actually have a seller accept a contingent offer over a non-contingent once, and even in this crazy market, and here's why. The contingent offer was high. It was about $30,000 higher than the non-contingent offer. The contingent offer waived the appraisal contingency, and they agreed in writing that they would have their house on the market in a week, and if they didn't have an offer in 2 weeks on their house, then they agreed to forfeit their earnest money. So the sellers I was representing felt that earning the extra $30,000 would be worth the risk of the 2-week wait to see if the other house sold, because if it didn't sell, then the sellers got to keep the earnest money as well. But that risk to the buyer was pretty big. I mean, what if they didn't sell their house in 2 weeks? They would have been out $10,000 earnest money and the cost of the home inspection. They were confident they would get an offer, and actually I was very familiar with the neighborhood that they were coming from in California, so we were more comfortable knowing that the home the buyers were selling was in a highly desirable area. So if you are making a contingent offer, be prepared to put things into the contract to pay more money and put yourself at risk financially in some ways, you're still going to have a very hard time getting the offer accepted. However, you do lessen your risk of having to pay for a different financing option or finding interim housing. And of course, the closer you are to having your contingency lifted or your home being sold, the more likely a seller is to accept your contingent offer. For example, I've had several clients who had contingent offers accepted when they were only about a week away from closing on the house that they were selling. But how does that work? They obviously would need a place to stay, as the next closing wouldn't be for 30 days, at least. So, well, that leads us to number 2 on the list. Okay, number 2. Number 2 is selling your home first and asking for a rent back time period. This is very common. So essentially you list your home and disclose that you would like a 60 or 90-day rent back, whatever's doable and common in your area. That way you free up your money when you close, and you can make an offer here non-contingent and then not have to find interim housing. Sellers of a home here in Boise see that you are making a non-contingent offer and you're off to the running. Or, as I alluded to before, you can make an offer when your current home is very close to closing, and many sellers are okay with that. And then you have a place to live while you wait for your Boise house to close. The biggest risk to you in this situation is that you have given yourself a time frame in which you need to find a new house in Boise. So you basically are betting on finding that new home within 30 days or so and closing in another 30 days. With our inventory being so very low right now, this can be a risk, as a home you like may not come on the market in that time frame. It's better if you are looking for something that is more common, closer to our average price point, which right now for the Valley is inching towards $600,000 or above. And if you're willing to pay to live in an Airbnb or maybe live with family in case the timing doesn't line up quite perfectly. Also, there's a risk when you list your house that you cut out buyers who don't want to give you a rent back time frame. But overall, this scenario has actually worked out quite well for my clients that have chosen the option of selling with a rent back. Alrighty, so how about number 3, a second home loan? So remember how I mentioned that you are trying to solve the problem of getting money freed up for a down payment and minimize finding interim housing? Well, what if you either have the money for a down payment saved somewhere else, or you can get that money from somewhere else? That's where the second home loan option comes in. Now, this takes careful qualifying from your lender, as they will basically have to approve you to carry both debts of both homes for a while. And you probably don't want to pay 2 mortgages, but it wouldn't be for long. So there are a few ways to do this. First, you can use savings from elsewhere, but make sure you think twice before using it from a retirement type of account where you're going to get hit hard on taxes. But maybe you have 20% down saved in your savings. You can use that for your down payment, purchase the new home as a second home, and then sell your previous home when you're ready. And then you can refinance it all with the proceeds from selling your other home. So this eliminates the risk of giving yourself that time frame to buy a home and of paying for interim housing. But as with all things that eliminate risk, it will cost you more money. A second home loan mortgage rate right now has gone up quite a bit. So until you refinance, it will be a higher interest rate. You will also be paying closing costs on the second home loan and then closing costs again when you eventually refinance. So it can be very costly, but it may be worth it if you are worried about interim housing or being rushed to find the right house, or setting for a home that you don't love because you have this time limit on you. Second, if you have enough equity, you can get a HELOC, or a home equity line of credit, against your first home to make up the down payment on the next home. So this has to be done before you list your house for sale, and it can take several weeks to fund. But then you can use the money like cash. You will have to begin repaying it as soon as you use it, and then you get the second home loan. Third, and then similar to the second home loan, would be a product like a bridge loan. So that's where the lender uses the equity you have in your current home as collateral against the home you are purchasing, and then you can make an offer non-contingent. It is only one loan, there's not a second refinancing with it, and you can purchase the second home as a primary residence, so you get a better rate. However, it is very expensive with fees, and if you don't sell your home as planned, you are stuck paying for the debt on both homes, and that is very costly. So obviously, for all of those options, you must be able to qualify for the debts of both homes or the homes and the HELOC. and feel that you'd rather pay the fees and rates instead of taking the risks of the other options. So what if you can't qualify for that much short-term debt? Then what do you do? Okay, so number 4, I have also had many clients do this option. They take a giant leap of faith, sell their house first, and then move to Boise in a short-term rental or an Airbnb or something like that. And then they take their time to find a house here and are able to make a non-contingent offer. So in this scenario, you save yourself the cost of the fees for a second home loan and such, but you do pay for a rental, and rentals in Boise are in high demand and hard to come by. You will pay much more for a short-term rental. Right now, you can expect about $2,500 a month for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, small short-term apartment, and a minimum of about $2,800 a month for a small short-term home. But you do have to pay to live somewhere anyways, so you are either paying your mortgage or paying rent. So it's not a total financial loss, but it is a few months of paying someone else's mortgage instead of your own. And number 5, for those of you who would pay cash if you could get the equity out of your house, that takes us back to the HELOC. If you have your home paid off or significant equity, you can get that HELOC. And again, you have to get it before you list your home. And if you find a home that costs under the amount of your HELOC, you can make a cash offer. So yes, you will have to pay your HELOC payment as soon as you use it, but it's usually interest only, and you would only make that payment until you get your other home sold. You also need to be aware of all the fine details for your HELOC, but I have had clients choose this route, and it works well for those who want to pay cash without a contingent offer. Of course, there are more ins and outs to all of these options, and there's more variations within them all, but all of them take some counseling between your whole real estate team, which should include your listing agent, the lending team, and your buyer's agent, so that you can find out which options you qualify for and then decide which options are best for you. Okay, so as you can tell, the less risk to you, the higher the financial costs, and overall, we really want to try to find a good balance of risk to you, but lessening that risk to the sellers too. But selling a home and making a big move takes sacrifice and determination, but it's worth it. Eventually, and hopefully sooner than later. Education and preparation are key to a successful experience, and my team and I are here to help you gain all of that as you prepare to buy and sell a home in the Boise area. We have great lending teams we work with, and we also have referrals to listing agents all over the country, so let us know if you need assistance with that as well. You can contact us at our website at summerastonrealestate.com. You can get a relocation guide there. There's lots of great community info on there. There's home search that you can do there. So check it out. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.